and gentlemen, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
This game's in the Admiral refrigerator. The door is closed, the lights out. Butter's getting hard, the eggs are cooling, and the jello is jiggling.
Hi, this is Stu Lance. Get ready for the Skyhook podcast with your hosts, Cap and Coop, and their Showtime teammate, Bob McAdoo.
Welcome, everybody, to another Skyhook podcast with Cap and Coop. And Cap, we got somebody very special in the house with us today. You know what? If you were to ask this player, who's the greatest of all time, he would give you three answers. Me, myself, and I. Welcome to Bob McAdoo in the house. What's up, Mac?
What's going on? Coop, you know that's not right. You know Cap's going to be in my top three. You know Cap's going to be in my top three every time.
Dude, first question for you. What was it like playing for arguably one of the most greatest coaches other than John Wooden at North Carolina with Dean Smith?
Oh, Dean Smith was fantastic. Thing that a lot of people don't know, my two choices coming out of junior college was John Wooden at UCLA and Dean Smith in North Carolina. And Dean ended up winning at the end because my father was sick and I wanted to stay close to home because I'm from Greensboro, North Carolina. Chapel Hill is like 45 miles down the road. And that was the determining factor because UCLA was after me before North Carolina was. I know Denny Crum was doing most of the recruiting at that time. In JUCO, after our first year, after we won the championship, they were writing me every month, and I never got the mail because our coach threw all our mail away. In JUCO, you got to have a 3.0 before you can transfer after 1 year. Well, unfortunately, all of us on that championship team had 2.9, so none of us could transfer. So after my sophomore year was over, I finally got a letter from John Wooden and said what happened. My mother sent, because he was sending mail to my mom's house in Greensboro. And I told him what happened. I said, I never got anything. That's when we found out the junior college coach was throwing all our mail away. I got invited to the World Games, all this. I never got any of that. They pulled a fast one on all of us to keep us there for the second year.
That's amazing, Bob. You know, that they would use that kind of chicanery on you.
Yeah.
That's not cool.
No, that's not cool. That's not cool.
Yeah, that's not cool at all.
But I tell people all the time, I couldn't have gone wrong. Either John Wooden or Dean Smith. I like being at home, but I did miss out on an NCAA championship because I would have been on that team with Bill Walton, Jamal Wilkes, Henry Bibby. Wow. I think about that sometime. We got to the Final Four, but in the end, UCLA won another title.
Yeah. Bob, this is, I'm not being vain or anything, but do you remember meeting me?
When?
You better shut up, man.
whenever it was that we met.
It was on the basketball court, Cap.
No, that's not me. We were working at that point. Like person to person.
I can't remember, Cap.
He's old now. He ain't got no memory.
I got. Hey, I don't remember if I met Cap because I'm sitting at home in high school in JUCO watching them Skyhook people to death. I think it was on the basketball court. When you was in Milwaukee and I was in Buffalo. And my rookie, I saw you skyhooking Elmo Smith to death. That's the first. We didn't ever say anything, but I got in my rookie year probably for about 20 minutes. After y'all killed us because we had a terrible team in Buffalo that first year. But that's the only thing I can remember, Cap.
You can't remember if it was positive, negative, or just blah. Neutral and in the middle.
Once I established myself, my second year, it became blood. We were going at each other big time. You were skyhooking me, and I was shooting jumpers on you, and that's how we introduced ourselves to each other. Yeah.
And I just remember those snowstorms up there in Buffalo, man. I'll never forget that, man. People coming out their houses from the second story and being able to walk.
Yeah.
I was so glad when they moved back to San Diego. Oh my goodness.
Man, hey, come on, Cap. I'm from North Carolina. I wasn't used to that. I got there in September and it was snowing at the end of September. I said, what the heck have I got myself into?
People going to football games.
It was nothing I could do because I was drafted by Buffalo. So you young and dumb. What you just happy to be in the league and stuff. So
and sign a contract.
Didn't bother me. Yeah. Sign a contract. It didn't bother me.
Signed a contract.
Yeah.
So how did you find San Diego when you got there?
I never got to San Diego.
Didn't the team move, or the team moved from San Diego?
I'd already been traded. Been traded before they moved there.
Which of us pulls off being ball better? Me or you?
I still
hat off, man.
I still got some hair. It's going down the middle, but I still, I got friends that call me Bozo the Clown because I got stuff on the side, but I don't care,
Hey, Mac, just go to the barber and get that shit.
I will. I'm going to the barber before I go to Hawaii because I don't want y'all talking all that junk to me.
Hey, dude, let it go. Let it go, man.
You gotta let it go.
Let it go.
I ain't letting nothing go, Coop. Are you kidding? When I let it go, it's time to be 6 feet under, bruh.
No.
Okay,
it's already left.
My question for you, dude. Is it safe to say you caught more skyhooks than Cap caught jumpers again when you guys played against each other?
No. He got more J's. He got more J-Stone because I got the ball every time. Once Cap got it in the post, some of the times they come down and double team and he'd have to throw it out. They couldn't double team me out on the floor. You was going to get that Jimmy in your face.
That's the McAdoo I love hearing about right there.
Yeah, boy. Absolutely. But yeah, when Shaq was here in Miami, we used to get into it all the time about who had the best team and everything. And we started putting together matchups and stuff. And when we got to the center position, I used to tell Shaq, I said, Shaq, Cap would have skyhooked your ass to death. and Shaq would come back at me. He said, Bob, Cap was too light in the ass. I was just back to me. And I said, no, you wouldn't. Because we'd have double teamed you and made you throw it out. Or we'd have done the hacker Shaq. You couldn't hit no free throws. We'd have hacker Shaq you. I said, y'all couldn't have hacked Cap because Cap could hit his free throw. We used to argue all the time about that. I said, James Worthy versus Rick Fox. I said, Magic versus Kobe. I said, Mr. Big versus Fisher. Are you kidding me? I said, well, we didn't compare Kurt, sorry to say. They had to put me out there. When they put me out there, that's when we started comparing the power forward. I said, y'all have no chance against us, Shaq. None. They talk about y'all being the best team. I said, what people don't realize and what they don't talk about is we probably the first team in the history of the NBA that could put 3 MVPs, 3 league MVPs out on the court at one time. And I've even talked to Sid. I said, Sid, y'all won that year because we had injuries. We'd have won that thing 4 years in a row. Yep. And I said, Philly, James was hurt. James broke his leg. Norm had a shoulder separation. I had a pulled hamstring. I said, that was 45, 50 points gone from us right there. But I know injuries are part of the game, but don't act like y'all, just kicked our ass. I mean, they did, but we didn't have a whole team present.
Yep.
Yeah, the fact is that we couldn't put our best team on the court.
No, we didn't have.
And that's part of the game.
Yeah, that's part of the game. That's part of the game. But I know for a fact
they don't want to admit that is what gave them the advantage. That's what annoys me.
Yeah.
I mean, they've got to say that, and just to respect the fact that what we did during the regular season.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, Philly, no way. Philly beat us 4-0. That's because the injuries killed us. No way Philly would have beat us. No way. No way. We had too much firepower. And a lot of our firepower was gone with those injuries. But like you said, that's part of the game. They're not going to put an asterisk on that.
We accepted it and kept going.
One thing that we could do is we could put different lineups. We could come at you big. We could come at you 6'9". We can come at you small. So that made us very, very interesting to play against.
We had Coop. We basically had 20 players.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because you could play 3 positions. I think the only one position guy was you, Cap. But everybody else, well, hey, ain't nothing wrong with that, Cap. You was the most devastating thing that ever happened in that 5 position. But all of us could play, 1, 2, 3, 2, 3, 4.
Exactly.
3, 4. I mean, we had 20 positions on the floor.
I just remember in '85, they didn't expect Coop that Coop could shoot it right there at the free throw line.
I told you I had some offense. I could shoot. I just wasn't a defensive player. Tell him again, Cap.
It was wonderful because I had 3 dudes in my lap, and I throw that bounce pass to Coop. It was like practice, man. They didn't know what to do about that.
Hey, but Cap, I'm always with the Miami Heat. I'm always arguing with our championship guys, and they bring out the stats. They said, man, y'all didn't have no 3-point shooters. I said, we had Coop.
What?
They brought out the stats. They said, McAdoo, Coop shot 31%. Get that crap out of here. He wasn't no great 3-point shooter. And they showed me the stats. I couldn't argue with him. I said, Coop was our 3-point shooter.
But
nobody else shot it.
That was in the pioneer days of the 3-point shot.
That was the pioneer days.
We shot way out there. That thing they shoot now is a high school jump shot.
They're not going to give the older players any play, man. They're going to talk about us, like we weighed 210 pounds versus their 250 pounds. How y'all little skinny bodies going to match up with us? I said, don't worry about me. Cap gonna go over the top with the Skyhook. I'm gonna go over the top with the J-Stone, and Cooper gonna D your ass up.
Dude, you can't get what you can't catch because we was running. They don't run like we used to run.
That's why they call it. That's why they call us Showtime. But you know why they call us Showtime? Because we was in LA. Our Buffalo team was faster than Showtime.
How did you find the weather in LA when you first got sent to the Lakers?
Hey, Cap, when we used to leave Buffalo and go out west, I was just amazed at everybody's car was clean and sparkling and shining. I was in Buffalo.
Different from Buffalo.
You got salt all on the side of your car. Your metal is rusting and stuff. Your car is nasty every day. There wasn't no need of you cleaning your car because the slush from the snowplow is gonna have your stuff looking ugly every day. That's what I loved about. And then those palm trees. I'm like, wow. I mean, LA was just fantastic.
Just a big difference.
I couldn't believe I ended up in LA near the end of my career. I just never thought that would happen. It was a stroke of luck.
You done good, Bob. But for me, it was the same thing because I was in Milwaukee, which is just Buffalo West,
Yeah.
But I knew what it was. I knew what it was like here in LA, and I got back here. I was able to get back. Yeah.
Hey, but Cap, remember the Buffalo Auditorium was right by Lake Erie. So you talking about the cold weather, I mean, the wind, Coop, it's like, oh my God. I mean, you going into the art, if you had some sniffles, your stuff was frozen on your mustache going in. I mean, it was cool. It was crazy, man. It was crazy. That cold weather, man.
The snow belt.
Yeah, the snow belt, man.
I'm a true LA boy. Dude, you know what? Your name is so synonymous with everything positive. McAdoo can do.
Can do.
Listen, what can't McAdoo don't?
I don't know. Like they used to say, they did an interview with Buck one time. He said the only thing McAdoo don't do is bowl. And he said if he picked it up the same day, he'd shoot 300 on your ass. Just competitive in everything, Coop. That's how I've always been.
You know, that's how many of us have been able to make our mark in the league, is because you got to be competitive to play in the NBA, as well as today's game. Who would you compare yourself with in today's game, Dude?
Kevin Durant.
Yeah.
Kevin Durant, all the way. Kevin Durant. I mean, I was really, you know, when he was playing with Oklahoma City, and we were playing him in the championship that year, I was really, it was really so nice. He came over to me in the layup line and said, Mr. McAdoo, I've seen films of you and I kind of patterned my game after you. You know, that just made me feel real good, because, you know, a lot of these young guys, they don't know the old players.
And they don't know how to learn. You know, there's so much they can learn if they're just patient.
Yeah. It's like Cap, my jump shot has been copied. You know, Dirk Nowitzki, Kevin Garnett, Durant, but you ain't never seen nobody do a skyhook, bro.
I find that
Cap.
That shot has not been copied at all. But people got to realize, you know, these young kids, it's like I tell them, ain't nothing new under the sun. I said, the older players did that stuff. I said, y'all got more athletes now, but we had guys that were shooting, big guys that were shooting jumpers and stuff, and guards like Coop, you know, all defense, you know, could guard 1, 2s, 3s, and 4. I mean, ain't nothing new under the sun. Y'all just getting all the promo now, you know, because they promoting the game more now than they did when we were in. When we were in, all they wanted to do was, oh, they doing drugs, or if they put somebody's salary in the paper, so-and-so making 300, 400,000. People were going crazy then. These boys making 50 million a year now. Nobody thinks nothing of it.
What do you think of the evolving role of the big man in today's game?
The big man is gone. If you can't shoot, you're out of here. The coach gonna say, "Come have a seat beside me, bro." I mean, you see how Golden State won. They won playing small ball. Yeah, that's the way the game is going now. If you can't shoot, they almost can't afford to put you out on the court. Can you imagine Cap playing in today's game the way they play? They run a 1-5 pick and roll against Golden State, and you would be stuck out there by yourself with Stephon Curry. That's how we didn't play like that. We didn't play pick and roll. Our game was 5-on-5, everybody moving. Now they'll pick out who they want to isolate, and they're gonna have Shaq or you or Moses Malone guarding Stephon Curry, because they're gonna run a 1-5 pick and roll. That's the way the game is going there. That's one of the big changes that's happening in the game now. I mean, it's more like Sandlot, like we used to play on the hard top, you know, but coaches didn't let us play like that back in the day. They didn't let big guys, you know, dribble like they let Durant and all these guys take it off the board and go coast to coast. They wanted us to catch it and throw it to a guard every time. So stuff has changed.
Hey, Cap, why is it, do you think, that big guys can't perfect the sky hook? Have you tried working with players or anything like that to help them learn that shot?
I think it's a lack of patience and, just getting the motion down, the footwork, and, using the glass with either hand. Those are invaluable tools for a big man around the hoop.
Yeah.
If you have those tools, you can take advantage, especially if you have the length that I had. And, that's what I used to be successful. I used my length because I knew they couldn't get it. Wilt couldn't get it. He got the first one or two that I shot on him, and I just made my calculations on the ballistics. and I just shot it over him. And, you know, that was it. Some of my friends from UCLA that played with Wilt told me that, you know, how much he didn't like playing against someone that could do that, you know, and I would imagine that Bob presented the same problem for Wilt, because, you know, Bob would have shot it in his face or went around him real quick, and Wilt just couldn't deal with that. He would have backed up and stayed under the hoop, and Bob or I would have been there just shooting our favorite shot at Wilt, and you know that's how it ended up.
Yeah. Hey, I want to throw a question to all of us, okay, out there. Was there any player that intimidated you or you were afraid to play against? Let's start with you.
Nobody, Coop.
Not even Cap in practice.
No, you gotta understand, when you got firepower, that's offensive firepower, you have no fear against nobody. You know you're gonna play against somebody that's good offensively. He might go out there and get 30, and they're gonna say, well, you can't play no defense. But I said, did you look at the box score? I think I had 45. I beat him by 15 points. This is Coop. You got to understand the mentality that I had, man. I knew what I was going to do offensively because I was fortunate. I was a big guy that could shoot the ball. You know, I had my high school coach didn't put me in a box and say, you got to stay here next to the lane, because it started my sophomore year and people were starting to play a 2-3 zone around me and I couldn't get the ball. I said, bump this, man. I know I can shoot. I started going out to the corners where you got small forwards, you know, out there, or out front where a guard, and you just shoot over the top. And it was like when people saw me coming, it was like, pop, 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 get your ass out of here. Get your little ass out of here.
Anybody you were intimidated by or
no.
I'm talking to Cap now. You done got Cap.
Well, Coop, I knew that Wilt Chamberlain was physically just imposing. Mm-hmm. He's very imposing. He weighed 300, probably 360, you know, in that range. But the thing of it was, he wasn't mobile. And I was very mobile. So I just made sure that I kept moving. And by the time we played maybe our third or fourth game against each other, I had gotten him to the point where he just gave up and just stood in front of the basket and kind of kept an eye on me and he tried very hard to block my hook shot, but he couldn't get to it. And before it was over, he had decided to retire to the volleyball courts down at the beach. So I didn't have to work very long. I think it was only like a season and a half that Wilt and I probably went against each other, and there was a give and take.
So it's safe to say you skyhooked him into retirement.
Yeah, it was something that he saw in his bad dreams as he went his way, and I didn't mind that, man, because there was nothing, he couldn't move him. It was he was like planted in the ground. But I just made sure that he had to run, and got disgusted with trying to keep up with me, and that changed it.
Well, for me, it would be George Gervin.
Yeah, I was going to say,
because Iceman could score. Now,
I was going to say,
but Iceman used to give it to
George Gervin.
But you know what? I had the comfort of you guys on the offensive end, because I always let you guys do all the hard work. They have to double you, Mac. They have to triple team Kareem, and left me wide open. So I was okay with that. Hey, you're listening to the Skyhook podcast with Captain Coop, and we got Bob McAdoo in the house today, boy.
McAdoo. Mr. Bob McAdoo. Bob, you helped the Lakers win the World Championship in 1985. And then they never re-signed you, man. What was that all about? How did you feel about that? I was disappointed myself.
Cap, that was one of the biggest disappointments in my life. I was the leading scorer coming off the bench. And you know how they did me. I mean, I'd play 12, 15 minutes in the regular season. And then when the playoffs got here, they put me in and I'd play 35 minutes. That 82 championship was very satisfying to me, Cap. I mean, it was fantastic. It was the first time I made it to the last game with you guys. And, the following year, they signed me to a 1-year contract. And after we won, they signed me to another 3. And I never told anybody. I had Philadelphia came after me. And I would have made twice the money in Philly that I made in LA. But, Charlena was alive at the time. She was a LA, California girl. She wanted me to stay in California. And I knew what I had with that team. And, I made that sacrifice and I stayed there. The only thing, and I can tell you guys this, we'll probably get into this when we go to Hawaii. I didn't raise a lot of hell from not starting because my main goal was to win a championship. But you guys probably never knew the stress, playing behind Jim Brewer, Landsberger, and Kurt Rambis. I mean, it just blew me away. I love those guys, but how would you put Kevin Durant on the bench?
I wouldn't have put you on the bench, and there should have been a better way. But like the dude in the paper that was always on your case for being hurt. Mm-hmm. That was they just trot that out there and say, well, get rid of him.
Well, that was Scott Ostler who kept saying he was a malangler. That's what you were.
Malcolm, yeah, that stuff started with the Boston Celtics. That talking about malcontent and malingerer. I had to go get a dictionary. I said, malingerer? I never heard of that word. What the hell is a malingerer? But you know how Boston was, Cap, back in the day. Yeah. Boston was considered, and I was on a podcast with Cedric, and Cedric kind of knew it, but he didn't know it like I did. I said, Black players did not want to go to Boston because they knew that was the end of your career. That was the dead zone for Black players. And they definitely didn't want no Black superstars there. When they traded me from New York, check this out, Coop. Gervin was number 1. David Thompson was number 2. I was number 3. They traded me right at the trading deadline to Boston. I get there and my agent said, okay, if they don't guarantee your money, we gonna hold out. It took me a week before I showed up there. And my father got involved. He said, boy, you gonna get your check on the 1st and 15th? I said, yes, sir. He said, you get your ass up there. I said, Dad, you don't understand. I said, you don't understand. That place is not good for Black men. He said, I don't care. You getting the money you making, you 1st and the 15th, you get your ass up there. And I did. The first game I went up there, Casey Jones. Now here I am averaging 28 a game. Casey Jones gonna try to put me in a game with 3 minutes to go. I said, I did a Matumbo on his ass. I said, no way, Jose. I ain't going in there. Red Auerbach and them got pissed. I guess they had never run into a Black man that, said no to them. But I said, no, man, I'm having 28 a game and 14 rebounds, and you're going to put me because you pissed. I said, that ain't my fault. The general manager and the presidents did that trade. I said, you're not going to do me like that. I'm not going for that. That's when that malcontent and malingerer stuff started going on, and to go back to what you said, Cap, the guy in LA might've been talking about he's injury prone. Well, if you're averaging 45 minutes a game, your career, first 10 years, and they're going to put you in the game for 5 minutes and take you out 10 minutes, that's going to make you injury prone. You stopping and starting at 30 years old, that ain't no good for no 30-year-old man. Can you imagine these players now coming in and out at 30 years old, that's when you get hurt. My injuries they were muscle pulls. That's from starting and stopping, when you used to play.
That's what it was about, huh?
Yeah, that's what it was about.
Okay.
Well, we learned Bob McAdoo's another nickname for him, Militant Bob. Because
no, I'm not militant. I'm not militant.
Listen, you have such an illustrious career, won championships, and we all want to be appreciated and respected for our talent. You and Cap nominated to the Hall of Fame. What was it for you to be like when you got chosen to be top 75 of all time that's ever played this game?
Well, first of all, I didn't go off like Dominique Wilkins. Dominique was really pissed, and I was pissed too. And I just told the people, I said, look, I'm happy I lived another 25 years, to be selected, because they know they screwed up with the top 50. But as soon as it was laid out, my oldest son said, Dad, you're the only MVP and multiple, or not even multiple, you're the only scoring champ that didn't make the top 50. I said, you know how politics run? Me coming off the bench, those 4 years in LA didn't help the situation. They started looking at you like you're a bench player and stuff. They don't realize, what you did and before. And I even got on some of the people at the Hall of Fame. I said, when I'm looking at the bio, y'all don't have none of my European stuff in here either. I said, I went over the season, averaged 30 points a game too, won EuroLeague championships. That's part of the Hall of Fame too. Just don't be arrogant and just, the NBA is it, and throw all the other stuff out the window. I had a whole cumulative stuff that was going on. But believe me, Coop, the top 50, man, I was hurt for a long time.
Oh, you didn't make the top 50?
No, I didn't make the top 50.
Wow.
I didn't make the top 50.
Bob, did you think it was because it was late in your career and they
could have been. It could have been. They looked at it like it's almost
they
like
wanted to see you in a different light. It seems to me that, geez, Mac can score, so we're going to put him on the bench and have him come off and just shoot a whole lot of J's. More or less like what was it? The microwave. Vinny.
They didn't look at the first part of my career. The second part was the Laker thing. The Lakers, that 4 years in Philly. They brought me off the bench, even though I shouldn't have come off the bench. But they did. I didn't make a big deal out of it because I wanted a championship. Because once you've gotten the scoring championships and MVP, and the thing about it, Coop, I came in second twice. I'm almost a 3-time MVP. I came in second behind Cap one time. And, it's like they weren't looking at none of that. And I'm like, what? And I called out a couple of players. I know that's not nice, but I called out a couple of players. I said, so-and-so made top 50 over me. Are you kidding me? Look at the stats, bro. But hey, that's politics. That's how the thing works. That's why all I could say was, I'm lucky I lived another 25 years to see, because when I was out there on that stage in Cleveland with Cap and all these guys, I was so proud and happy that they finally recognized me.
But you're MVP in my heart, McAdoo. Always. You're my number one. Well, you're number two. That's my number one.
Okay. It's been a wonderful ride, Coop. I'm telling you. I was on the worst team in the league, middle of the road team, best team. I've seen it all. I played on all those teams, which that's a hell of an experience. You want to skip
and
a bad team.
You went overseas too.
Yeah, I went overseas and had a lot of success. But Cap, when you're a top draft pick, you're not gonna go to a top team.
Ask me about that. Okay.
Yeah, I know you know about that. But but Cap, at least you got on the team. You had the big O with you. Yeah. I didn't have that. I didn't have that in Buffalo. and Buck, he's really lucky. I mean, come on, his first year, he's on the team with Cap and Silk and all these guys that done already won a championship. I'm like, some guys have all the luck, man.
He was like a missing piece that it was just all of a sudden, just by luck, he fit exactly what we needed.
Yeah. But that's the way the cookie bounce, man. When you a top draft pick, you're gonna be on a bad team, and you got to try to work your way up, try to stay healthy, and hope that you can stay in this league. Because being on bad teams is not good for your career.
At all. You know what, Mac, and one of the things I always tell young people about basketball, I grew up and I'm pretty sure, I didn't have anything. And I always tell kids, use basketball before it uses you, because basketball can take you many places. You and I played overseas in Italy. I've been to Finland. So basketball is a very important tool, but you have to use it the right way or it can use you up and spit you out.
If I had to write a book, I mean, people might be surprised about this, but my 6 years in Italy was the best time of my life, basketball-wise. I loved Italy. I was in a great city in Milan, and we had 3 national team players on the team. Mike D'Antoni, who's been a coach in this league, he was my point guard. He played as an Italian because his grandfather was from Italy. And, I had a point guard who could pass the ball. And, we won the Italian championship. We won the European championship. We were the team to see in Europe. People could not get a ticket to our game. The 80s was just fantastic in Europe, man. I even tried to talk a couple of players into coming over there. Coop, you were lucky. Saw.
Cap, hold up. Let me tell you something. Matt and I played. He was in Milan. I was in Rome, and I had a kid on my team named Dino Raja. We went to Milan, where they cheat over there, Cap, because we talked about that before. We went over there. I said, get ready to get your butt kicked real good. Mac's team put an ass whooping on us.
Hey, Cap. That was the cause of Coop, because Coop came over there with his Laker mentality, arrogant and stuff. We come out on the court. We in Rome, Cap, and me and Dino Raja decided, how Dino Raja had a good career. He says to Dino in the jump circle, Dino, kick his ass. I'm like, what? I said, Coop, you're going to get this boy, you're going to get this Croatian servant, you're going to get this boy killed over here. And that's exactly what happened. Cooper got us started right from the beginning. Who was the next one? Reggie Theus was playing in Varese, and he came.
Ray was in Bologna, wasn't he?
He came up to me. He came up to me and was teasing me, pulling my white hairs. Come on, what you doing over, man? I said, don't you let these gray hairs fool you. What'd he get? 45.
How many points do you think you would average in today's game if you were in your prime?
Good question.
It depends on the team that you're on. If you're on a team where you don't have a lot of other scores, I'd probably be a 30-point per game guy.
That's it, dude. I was expecting to be 40 or something. What are you talking about?
No. It's only so much time in the game, Coop. You can't, I mean, I look back, Cap, I don't know if you look back now. Do you ever say, how did I do what I did? You ever said that?
Well, I know how and why it was, because of what I learned in college, and nobody wanted to keep up with me.
Yeah.
So each year, I remember, God rest his soul and peace be on him. Bob Lanier's dad used to get on his case because he could never get the best of me.
Yeah.
And it's just you have to accept there's some things you can do and there's some things you can't do. Like I wasn't going to be able to chase you all around and block all your jump shots.
Yeah, it's a matchup problem.
I'd be in the hospital.
But Cap, it's matchups. Some matchups just don't work. Like I'm a big tennis fan now because my kids play tennis and they've played pro, and I see them against certain people, and it's always a matchup problem. Like with me, guys were either too big or they were too small. If they were small, they used to try to put Bobby Dandridge on me. Bobby D is a hell of a player.
Yes.
But it's like, you're too little, bro.
Too little, yeah.
You're too little. They used to put Spencer on me.
Too slow,
bro. And then the bigger guys, Bob Lanier, Artis Gilmore, I knew I could beat you guys down the court. You know, I had a mentality that something that I had was going to be an advantage. That goes back to your question, Coop. Was anybody intimidated? No, because I was so confident in my abilities and what I could do and the advantages that I had over guys with different sizes, because they put every type of player, small forwards, power forwards on me. I knew I could overpower the small forwards. I knew I was quicker than the centers and the power forwards. So that was my advantage. I never even thought about intimidation. I mean, you had big guys in the league that were physical and try to hurt you. Like Maurice Lucas would go out there and try to hurt me. And I'm like, Luke, get your slow ass out of here. You know, this guy that played for I don't know, Cap, you remember Leonard Gray?
Yeah.
Yes.
He used to try to intimidate you. He'd come out there snarling and what's his name? Sam Lacey with Kansas City. He'd come out there foaming at the mouth and spitting and stuff. And I used to laugh at it like, boy, you gonna get 40 tonight, boy. That was my mentality.
Hey, you know what? You lucky you didn't see me then, because I'd have came out there and gave you all you can handle.
Coop, you was too little. You didn't have enough ass. You was 170 pounds wet. Hey, Coop, I wasn't gonna be outside with you because I know your hands are good. I was just gonna put you in the post, and it's like, get
you
your
gonna turn around and shoot in my face.
I was gonna shoot right in your face. And if I didn't shoot right in your face, you was gonna go, hey, Coop, all you gonna do, head fake, and you be up in the air. See ya, like your boy in New Jack City. See ya, wouldn't want to be ya.
I want to see this Bob McAdoo next week when we go to Hawaii. Don't you, Cap?
We'll see.
Yeah, absolutely, man. That's gonna be wonderful, man. I can't wait to see everybody. It's just the trip is just gonna be so long from Miami. Oh my goodness, man. God.
Yeah, it's a long trip.
You know,
too early.
Yeah, I just came from Italy with my family. I was over there with them 3 weeks ago, and 10-hour flight to London. Then you got another hour and a half to get to Bologna. They're just, my age now, that long distance just wears me out now. But hopefully I'll be better, with this trip coming up, because I'm really looking forward to seeing everybody.
Hey, Mac, we're at that point of the show where we're ready to ask you several questions, okay?
Okay.
And I'm going to start it off by, what's the greatest sports movie of all time?
If you want to call Seabiscuit a sports movie, I like Seabiscuit because the horse was being dogged and didn't do nothing, and then they got a different trainer and it became a champion. I like the message in Seabiscuit.
Greatest candy bar of all time to you?
Almond Joy.
Why?
I like the coconut. And the nuts, Bobby Dine.
Greatest love song?
For You to Love by Luther Vandross.
Cap, your greatest love song?
Oh, geez.
That's a good one. I'm going to say something by Marvin Gaye.
Oh, geez.
Let's get it on.
No, I'd like to go back a little bit further to Sarah Vaughan,
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Black Coffee.
Yeah, Sarah Vaughan was a little bit before me, but I like these old songs. But Cap, you see where I'm sitting, you see what's behind me, that's for you, because I knew Cap was into jazz, Thelonious Monk, what's your boy, the saxophone player?
John Coltrane.
Coltrane. I knew Cap. I remember you had the jazz collection of all time. Of all time.
What did it feel like to be named to the 75 best players in the NBA on its 75th anniversary? How did that make you feel?
that made me feel great, especially after being left off of the top 50, because I knew what I did. I mean, I knew the energy that I expended. I turned that Buffalo franchise around, and you know, it's a feeling of accomplishment, Cap. You know, yeah. I mean, because it's been hundreds of thousands of basketball players in the world, and to be in the top 75 means you have made your mark on the game.
Yes, absolutely.
What's the greatest invention of all time to you?
Well, if I can think of right away, GPS system.
Oh, that's the telephone man.
Yeah, I put my when I want to find some place to go, I just put my GPS on and boom, I'm there.
Isn't that great, McAdoo? It put you right at the front door, man. That is absolutely amazing.
Yeah. I mean, GPS is unbelievable, man. I mean, I wish I'd have thought of that.
You'd be a millionaire there. A billionaire. A billionaire. Absolutely. 9, greatest action movie. Greatest action movie of all time to you.
I like Dancing with the Wolves. You know, those are older movies that I.
What makes those so interesting to you?
The Native Americans took Kevin Costner's act. They took him in at the end. That was fantastic to me.
Oh,
I love that.
Sounds like the way the Lakers took you in. And then you caught my style, my 2 sweatbands, the strings out, my high white socks. I was the first one doing that.
Cap, tell him who was wearing the long socks and had the string hanging out in their pants. You wasn't even born when I was wearing that stuff, Coop. Come on now.
I have another question for you.
Okay, go ahead.
What is the best moment of your career, your highest point of your career, and what is the low point of your career?
The high point of I got to say 2, Cap. It's not just one. It was winning MVP, and they giving me, I remember Simon Gordine. You remember him? He was he gave me my MVP trophy in front of the Buffalo fans, and my Laker championship. When we threw the ball up, the time clicked off, and I couldn't believe it. I was NBA champion. And then in Europe, when we won the EuroLeague champion, we was
that's 3. How many do you want now?
It's 3, Cap. It's 3. It's not 1. It's
I'm 3. Just messing with you.
No, it's 3 fabulous. I mean, can you name one with you? Or do you have a couple of them? It was 3 to me. It's the EuroLeague championship, the NBA championship, and MVP. Those were the high points in my career. Now, let me tell you my low points. My low point was getting traded to the Detroit Pistons and the Boston Celtics. I didn't know. Right. I didn't know if my career was going to extend once I got to those 2 bad teams there.
When you were in Detroit, you had to deal with the criticism of Leon the Barber.
Yeah, Leon the Barber he was a headache. He was a headache. You know,
great question, Cap.
he would say anything and everything. And I had to keep my mouth shut because I knew the league would find me if I went over there into the stands.
But Mac, hold up a second, okay? Just so our viewers understand who Leon the Barber was, he was an avid Detroit Piston fan. He goes all the way back to Cobo Arena where they were playing, and he would yell at everybody, every visiting team.
Everybody, yeah.
Pick that one guy that would just hammer.
Yeah.
And with us, you were that one guy.
Well, he didn't like me in Detroit. And likewise.
He heckled you on the home team, huh?
Yeah, he heckled me and I was on the home team.
Right.
And I had to put up with that jerk, you know, for the 2 years that I was there.
Yeah.
And I I had some Detroit people that said, don't mess with him. He's packing. And my response to them was, hey, bro, I'm from Carolina. I got some Fort Bragg brothers that'll come over here and do some demolition stuff and blow his car up. But I couldn't do that, Coop. Yeah, I'd be in jail today. But that's how I felt. That's how I felt about him.
What was the one skill that you had that sets you apart from the rank and file of the NBA?
Being a big that can shoot. I was one of the first bigs that could shoot. It's like I could get out of double teams. A couple of times I would take it off the board and go coast to coast with it. That was one of the skills that you didn't see a lot of 6'9", 6'10" guys that had in the 60s and 70s. So I was fortunate. And I think that's what made my career last long, because I didn't get beat up a lot with y'all up there in that post position, Cap. Y'all took a pounding in that post. You, Artist, Bob Lanier. It was big guys in that post. I was outside shooting jumpers, wasn't getting hit a lot. And then it really helped me when I went overseas, because, big guys that can't shoot over it, it showed you how the game was changing. It was about shooting. When I went over to Europe, I ran into Tony Kukoc, the guy you played with in Rome, all those guys could shoot from the outside, and I was already doing it. So that's what kind of set me apart, Cap.
Hey, you listening to the Skyhook podcast with Cap and Coop, and we got Bob McAdoo in the house. Dude, question for you. Everybody always talk about the GOAT, greatest of all time. Who would you consider your greatest of all time? Give me your top 3 greatest of all time players.
When I first came in the league, it was Wilt Chamberlain, Cap, and I'd have to say Rick Barry.
Bill Russell wouldn't fit in there?
I didn't play against Bill. Okay. Bill was already gone when I came in.
Okay.
Bill, of course, is the greatest winner that ever played.
Yeah.
But Bill didn't have the skills of Cap and Wilt.
And Rick Barry. Rick Barry. You got to put that in there. I know when you watch Stephen A. Smith, he kind of, if you don't win a championship, you're not one of the best. But I don't go for that, because teams are put together by general managers and stuff. You can't, you're not going to tell me guys like Patrick Ewing, Karl Malone, Stockton are not great players. Those guys don't have championships, but they're great players. So I don't go on a championship deal like that. Okay.
That's why I say Wilt Chamberlain and Cap in the 70s when I came in, and Rick Barry. When I start getting to the 80s, Buck, Magic, Bird. I'm trying to think. I hope I don't go over anybody.
Dominique, Olajuwon.
Olajuwon. Is Olajuwon in the 80s or 90s?
Yeah, he came in the 80s, late 80s.
I got to put Olajuwon in there. Yeah. When you start getting to the 90s, that's
Jordan,
Kobe, Jordan. LeBron came in the 90s too, didn't he?
Yeah. Where would you stick Dominique Wilkins? You consider him?
Not with those 3. Okay. Not with LeBron, Kobe, and who was the other one?
Michael Jordan.
Yeah. Those 3 there are head above heels, in my opinion. You get to the 2000, Durant, Curry. You got to help me, Coop. These young boys right now.
That's about it. You got what's the kid that was at Utah? Donovan Mitchell.
It's a hard thing, Coop.
Yeah.
It really is. It's hard picking players like that, because all these guys were supersonic talented, man.
But if you had to pick one, and I'm gonna answer this first, and then you can go afterwards. and not just because he's my friend and a teammate, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar is the greatest of all-time players. And what people don't understand about him, to me, what do you consider a GOAT? A GOAT is somebody that can score. A GOAT is somebody that makes other players around him better. A GOAT is somebody that can get to that free throw line and hit that shot when it's needed. And a GOAT is the one that's going to always be a leader, whether he's verbal or just doing it off of his actions. And that's why, for me, I pick Cap as my greatest of all time and yours. Yeah. Okay, so you have to pick one. Who would you go with?
If I had to go with somebody, it would have, I'm always, like Cap said, he said 3 greatest. It's hard to pick one. But I mean, if I had to, I'll pick 2. I'll say Cap and Jordan. I'd have to put Cap and Jordan because I practice against Cap every day. Yeah. I saw that Skyhook coming from the moon. It's like, and I've told people before, that's the most unstoppable shot in the history of the game. I've never seen anybody stop that shot. Now, I know, Cap, you used to say Nate Thurman guarded you the best, but he was guarding you and you were still getting 36 and 38 points. I mean, Nate was long, but I never saw anybody to stop Cap's hook. It just didn't happen. That's the most devastating shot that's ever hit this game, and nobody's been able to copy it yet. That's what's impressive to me.
What's the most common excuse for losing of all time?
I mean, it's a whole lot of excuses.
He didn't put me in the game.
I wasn't ready.
Our guards couldn't pass the ball. We had some dummies playing guard. We got a team full of selfishness. I mean, you hear it all the time.
Only Bob McAdoo would say something.
Or the coach. He didn't know what the heck. That's right.
Well, you know what, Cap? Another great guest we've had. Again, you're listening to the Skyhook podcast with Cap and Coop, and we've had Bob McAdoo. Bob, thank you so much.
No problem.
For being part
of it.
No problem. We got to do this again, man.
I'll be seeing you.
Okay.
I'll be seeing you.
Okay.
All right.
Sounds good. Okay.
Got one in the bag, Cap. Thank you.
All right.
Please click the subscribe button below. If you're already a subscriber, thanks for your support. If not, sign up today so you don't miss any of the exciting interviews with Coach Pat Riley, General Manager Jerry West, all of my Showtime teammates, and some surprise NBA legends.
Be sure to watch Legacy, the true story of the LA Lakers, only on Hulu.